What up guys, welcome back to another Quick Tip Tuesday where I explain things in 60 seconds or less, except today it'll probably be a little bit over that, but I'll keep it short. Boom, camera! Today we're talking about camera exposure and the three variables that affect it. Alright, so the first variable that affects exposure is ISO. ISO is the sensitivity of your camera's sensor to light. When you raise the ISO, you're increasing the sensitivity of the sensor, making your image brighter. When you lower your ISO, you're decreasing the sensitivity, making your image darker. Alright, so the second variable that affects exposure is shutter speed. Shutter speed is the length of time your sensor is exposed to light. Faster shutter speeds cause your image to be darker, whereas slower shutter speeds cause your image to be brighter. Shutter speed actually has another function, and that's to control the amount of motion blur you have in your image. If you have a fast shutter speed, you're going to have less motion blur in your image, versus if you have a slower shutter speed, you're going to have more motion blur. And the last variable that affects exposure is aperture. Aperture is the size of the opening within your lens that controls the amount of light hitting your sensor. Larger apertures allow more light to hit your sensor, which causes your image to be brighter, whereas smaller apertures allow less light to pass through, causing your image to be darker. Just like shutter speed, aperture also has a secondary function, and that's to control depth of field. Right, so if you have a wide aperture, you're going to have a very shallow depth of field, meaning less things are going to be in focus. If you have a smaller aperture, you're going to have a wider depth of field, meaning more things are going to be in focus. Okay, so I lied. There's actually one more thing that you guys can use to affect the exposure of your image, and that is ND filters. So in my case, I actually use something called a variable ND, which simply screws on to the front element of my lens. And these are awesome because all you have to do is to simply turn the filter to darken your image. These are really great because if you're outside and there's a lot of light and you have a normal shutter speed and you want to shoot with shallow depth of field or a wide aperture, this helps darken the image, because otherwise if you don't have this, your image is going to be super bright and overblown and it's just going to look terrible. So having this on can allow you to control the exposure manually just by changing the rotation of the filter. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps up this video. Hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace!